Hi guys, it's Brett again. Well, I've been watching YouTube videos and trying to figure this whole virus thing out. Okay, so last night I watched two movies. One was about the 8th Squadron in America that was during World War II that fought against the Germans, and the other one was about the ground forces. Now, what was interesting about these two these shows, was that they were physical wars where the guys physically fought against the opposition, the enemy. And then 10 weeks later, after World War II, they then went to war with Japan and they blew them up with nuclear bombs, and that was the end of that. So America has always fought a physical war. Now, in 1919, 21st of July 1919, the Communist Party came into power in China. And the Communist Party made a pact with the people of China, or I don't know, the Emperor of China, that by the year 2021, the 21st of July, they would own the world. They would own Tibet, which is what they didn't own. They would own Taiwan, and they would own the South China Sea, and they would have, over the 100 years, they would have space planes and space stations and all that stuff, and they would control the communication, everything. They would control everything. So the Chinese government, the CCP, had a blood pact, which means that they don't care who lives, who dies. They are inhuman because they have a mission statement that they're doing. Now, the world doesn't realize that China they're almost like terrorists. They own the world now. They've introduced the new Bitcoin money system, which will eventually become the next currency. They're going to do the 5G. They have got space stations, which is what they've done. They've improved their military dramatically. Once their military is stronger than America, which it will be by the year 2021, 21st of July, they will own the world. The problem is the world didn't learn Chinese. None of us have learned Chinese. Remember, there are 1.4 billion Chinese in China. America has 24 million people. China has 27 times more people in China than in Australia. So think about this for a minute. I worked out that one supertanker, when emptied and packed with humans, can take 30 million human beings. So let's assume China takes a supertanker, empties it, cleans it up, puts a whole lot of chairs in it, and sticks 3 million Chinese in the supertanker with guns and a backpack full of food for a few weeks. Then what they do is they send the supertanker out into the world, telling everybody that's full of diesel or fuel or whatever, and they arrive at America or Australia, and they open the front of it, and 3 million Chinese just step out. Those 3 million armed Chinese people can go to Australia, kill 24 million Australians, and literally take over Australia. And there's nothing any of you can do. Why? Because China is a nuclear power. They have nuclear weapons. The only way to destroy China is to drop 200 or 300 nuclear weapons on China and vaporize China. And the world has to then retaliate against the Chinese people and wipe them out. It's the only way. There is no other way. But the problem is humanity is human. It's our humanity that has already killed us. I have realized that China is the alien species that everybody's been worrying about from the stars. This alien species that from the stars that was supposed to come in Independence Day and take over the world, and we're going to fight them. China is that alien species. They've come in quietly, methodically, with their mission statement to take over the world. And they have. Technically, a quarter of the human race are Chinese. How do you beat that? You can't. Even if you killed 50 million of them, it makes no difference. They'll just keep coming. Another thing you need to understand is in China, every human being is a commodity. You're not actually a human being. To give you an idea of this, in China, over 100,000 people a year vanish. They just vanish. Nobody knows where they've gone. I believe that what happens is, because the system is so organized, they know where everybody is, what they were doing, and if you're not contributing to the CCP, the party, then you're technically useless. So they harvest you. They come, they pick you up, they sedate you, they take you to your harvesting facility, they take out your heart, they take out all the relevant and significant organs and whatever they can use, blood, and they sell it off. Now, I worked out that has got to be at least $1 billion plus a year. You ask yourself where all the hearts in the world come from, all the livers and the kidneys, on the black market. They're sold. So that's the thing about China. The Communist Party of China, they're not human. People believe this concept of humanity. All the Chinese people are probably human. They're probably reasonable people. But the Communist Party, if you think about it, they've got these huge warehouse buildings with literally thousands of politicians in them. And then you get this guy, Xi Jinping, whatever, at the top, and he points in and pushes. But each of those individuals in that parliamentary building have to have a job to do. Besides running the country, they've got to follow the mission statement. So if he says to them, right, we need to take over the world's communication systems, we need to introduce the 5G system, so they produce the best 5G system in the world, and of course everybody gets on board. They've now got the communication. They've now got the Bitcoin, Chinese Bitcoin, that's going to take over the monetary system. Eventually money is going to become redundant. The thing about it is the poor people, they don't care about you. Africa, forget about it. You're actually a commodity. They want to filter into Africa and bring a few 100 million Chinese into Africa so they can take over Africa, minerals and so on, because it's all about keeping the wheels turning. Because remember that they made a contract with the people of China, a 100-year deal. And the CCP wants to be in power for another 100 years. So how do you do that? You fulfill the deal you made at the very, very beginning of the relationship. So that's their plan. Also, CCP is killing the Chinese culture. They've realized the Chinese culture is worthless. It has no value. China lives on money and power. That's all they live on, and growing and growing and growing. So what they want to do is they want to kill the Chinese culture. Now, I watched a video a couple of weeks ago on a drama production school in America that produced a drama production, which is amazing apparently, called Shi Jin or something. Anyway, this school of drama people produced this extraordinary production about China, the true history and the culture of China, which was wonderful. The problem is the Chinese government wants to destroy it. Apparently they've attacked the people and cut their tires, and they threaten them all the time, and they've sent delegations, and and now this organization has got seven troops around the world trying to promote the Chinese culture, because they want the Chinese people to remember their culture. And the problem is the Chinese people have been forced to forget their culture through the dictatorship of the CCP. All the Chinese government wants them to do is be these subservient people, no religion and no thought process, and become the commodities that they are. Now, another thing that worries me about this is about 4 years ago, China banned burials. Now, that's bad, because they said they have no space. Okay, they said cremation is now the mandatory rule, and if nobody cremates, then they're going to get in trouble. Now, China, burials was a big thing in China. People spend a lifetime buying their coffins and all that kind of stuff. Now it's been banned. And the reason it's been banned is because they don't have any space. Farming, minerals, factories. So what's happening in China is they're running out of space. Okay, so that's why they sucked up Tibet. That's why they want Taiwan. They want Taiwan, you better watch out, man. China's going to take your ass. And they want the South China Sea. They want all of it, because all that fish stock there they want. That's why they're fighting so hard, because that was part of the contract they made. Spaceships in space, own Tibet, get Taiwan, own the South China Sea, own the communication of the world, own the monetary system of the world, all that kind of stuff. That was the deal. Everything that China's doing, improve their military. Have you noticed how they've improved their military? They've now got the best planes in the world, the best ships, the best this, the best. They've got 400 nuclear bombs, God help us all. So they are gearing up. Now, there's no way to actually stop China. You can't. The only way to really stop them is to blow them up and to kill them. Even if you evict them out of your country, it means nothing. The problem is in Africa, for example, a perfect example, and most of the world, what China has done is they've realized that the dollar is a dead currency. Within the next year or two, dollar is going to die, and the yuan, the Chinese currency, is going to take over. That will be the currency of the future. And they know this. So what they're doing is they're stockpiling yuans and they're dealing in dollars. So they go to a country like South Africa. They do a deal with South Africa. 93 projects. That's what they've implemented with Cyril Ramaphosa. And the total value of the projects is $1.7 billion. China's happy. Okay, that's about 30 or 40 billion rand in South African currency. Now, there's no way South Africa can afford to pay this back. But in the contract, because the Chinese are aggressive with their contracts and they uphold them. When you try and fight China on a contract, they will do everything in their power not to fulfill their mandate. They don't care. But when it comes to them and their contracts, they'll friggin' take you to the world court and they will demand blood. This is how they work, okay? So now what's happened is in the contracts, these people that says that if they don't pay the money, they will own the port, or they will own the power stations, or they will own the land. Now this is what China wants to do. They want to own all the land because they know the land is where the commodity is. For example, in America, China owns 126,000 acres of land. Do you Americans even know that? 126,000 acres of your country belongs to China. I bet you didn't know that. It does. It's in contract. It's written on a little scrap of paper in some parliamentary building. They sold, China bought the land, God knows when, because they knew. And they're continuing to want to buy everything. They want to own all the companies. America and the world are trying to implement this system where they're going to try and stop China from buying shares in companies and owning companies. How? They just have multiple companies. Then they buy the shares and then it's owned by the Communist Party. And they don't care. They'll spend $1 billion a year, $1 trillion a year, because they know that these piles of fictitious money is worthless. Because the yuan is going to be the currency of the future. And they know this. That's what makes them so, I don't know, brilliant, but quite amazing people, actually. And this is what the world doesn't understand. So you guys need to all wake up, okay? If you don't wake up, you guys are all going to be in deep shit. We're all in deep shit. Now, there's a video that you need to watch. It helps a little bit. It's not enough to give complete clarity of what's going on, but it'll certainly help. It's called China's 2021 War Plan, and it's on a YouTube video, a site called NewsX. Okay, it's actually an Indian news site. The gentleman that speaks on it is very learned. You can chat with, you can listen to this guy. It's amazing. And you can probably go and listen to some of his other videos. But this particular video explains the plan of China. Okay, and unfortunately, I'm sorry guys, I apologize, but China owns the world, and the only way to stop them is to either beat them in the communication and production facilities and accept the fact that all the products you want to buy around the world are more expensive, and we're happy to buy more expensive and sell more expensive and tell China to take a jump off of a short pier, which I don't think we'll do because we're all naturally greedy. And I think the word is horny. We're all horny for money, and China just offers a better deal than everybody else. Or you've got to sink, listen to me, America, you've got to sink all their battleships, you've got to sink all their fishing vessels, you've literally got to starve China. You literally got to starve them, or you've got to nuke them. And I'm talking about 200 nuclear weapons. I'm not talking about one nuclear weapon in the head office of China. I'm literally talking about vaporizing that country, that there's no Chinese left. Because if you don't do that, I mean, think about it. 1/4 of the planet are Chinese. Think about that for a minute. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later sometime. I hope that YouTube is decent enough to send this video out and educate the world. I think you guys all need to learn this, because this was a real eye-opener for me, I must say, when I began to put the pictures together. Oh yes, and this virus thing, forget about it. It's a joke. It's a misdirection. I forgot to mention that in the thing. It's a complete misdirection. It's garbage. Okay, it was preordained, pre-planned by China. They were going to introduce it sooner or later, either to make money or to misdirect the population in their attempt to take over the world by buying global assets, which is exactly what happened. The markets have crashed. I see they're slowly recovering, but the markets have crashed, and that was part of their plan. They don't care if 50 million people, 100 million people, 500 million people die, as long as they fulfill the mission statement, the blood contract with the people of China. Okay, and you need to understand this. Good luck, world. Bye.